Maya Johnson stared at the shiny invitation floating above her worn kitchen table. It cast blue light patterns across her small apartment. The message was short, but very important. To Ms. Maya Johnson, Earth's unsung prodigy. Your talent has reached beyond our atmosphere. As ambassador of the Galactic Council and representative of the Altarian Commonwealth, I formally request your presence at the Centennial Harmony Conference. Your human way of playing music is of great interest to our space community. Transport will arrive at coordinates 40.128 degree N, 74.00 60 degree on Earth, date August 17, 2187, at 0900 hours. Regards, Ambassador Zex Toral. Maya's fingers shook as she reached for the floating message, making it ripple like water. She was only 23 years old, and mostly taught herself how to play. She had only performed at a few underground clubs in New Brooklyn. How had an alien, an actual being from another planet, heard her play? The first meeting with the Altarians happened just 5 years ago, shocking all of human society. The aliens were far more advanced in technology, able to control gravity and fold space to travel between stars. Yet despite how advanced they were, they seemed strangely interested in human culture, especially art and music. What the invitation didn't say was that Ambassador Zex Toral was not just any representative. He was among the richest beings in the known galaxy. He controlled mining operations across 12 star systems. His interest in human music was well known, and his collection of instruments from across the universe was the best anywhere. Maya's grandmother, Elaine, walked into the kitchen, her eyes growing wide at the sight of the floating message. "Is that what I think it is, child?" she asked, speaking barely above a whisper. "Yes, Grandma," Maya replied. "They want me to play for them, for the whole galaxy." Elaine sat down in a chair, her weathered face showing both pride and worry. "Your parents would have been so proud. Your father always said your music would take you to the stars." She paused, her eyes getting wet. "Though I don't think he meant it quite so exactly." Maya laughed despite her nerves. "What should I do?" Elaine reached across the table and took her granddaughter's hand. "You know exactly what to do. Humanity needs people out there who understand what makes us special. Your music speaks truth in a way words never could." 2 days later, Maya stood in Central Park, holding a small bag with her most valued belonging, a worn book of handwritten sheet music that had belonged to her great-great-grandmother. The morning air felt cool on her skin as a crowd of people watched from a distance, kept back by government security. The sky grew dark for a moment as a ship came down, unlike any human spacecraft, more like a drop of liquid metal hanging in air. It landed without making any sound, a doorway appearing in its smooth surface. A figure stepped out, tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to hold galaxies inside it. Ambassador Zexus Toral moved smoothly despite Earth's gravity, walking up to Maya with four-fingered hands held out in the now familiar sign of peaceful greeting. "Maya Johnson." The ambassador's voice was musical, translated by the small device at his throat. "Your journey begins today. Are you ready to show humanity's artistic spirit to the cosmos?" Maya swallowed hard and nodded, stepping forward toward a future she could never have dreamed of. As she boarded the ship, Maya looked back one last time at the New York skyline. She thought about all the nights she had practiced until her fingers ached, all the time she had been told that classical piano was a waste of time in an age of digital sound synthesis. Now her old-fashioned skills were taking her beyond Earth itself. The inside of the alien ship was both strange and beautiful. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with soft light that changed color based on who was near them. There were no sharp corners anywhere, just flowing curves that made Maya feel like she was inside a living thing rather than a machine. "We have prepared a space for you," the ambassador said, leading her down a corridor that widened as they walked through it. "It has been adjusted to match Earth conditions as closely as possible." The room he showed her had a bed, a small table, and what looked like a water fountain built into the wall. Most surprisingly, in the center sat what appeared to be a grand piano, though its surface had an odd shimmer that no Earth instrument would have. "Is that for me to practice on?" Maya asked. "It is an approximation," Ambassador Zex Toral said, based on our studies of Earth instruments. You will find it responds somewhat differently than what you are used to. Consider it an introduction to what you will experience at the conference. When the ambassador left, Maya sat at the piano-like instrument and gently placed her fingers on the keys. The sound that came forth was close to a piano, but with subtle differences. Overtones that lingered in the air much longer than they should have. Notes that seemed to have colors attached to them. As the ship left Earth's atmosphere, Maya played a simple melody her father had taught her when she was 6 years old. The notes drifted through the alien vessel, perhaps the first human music ever to be played in deep space. Though she didn't know it yet, the simple tune was being recorded and analyzed by the ship's systems, transmitted ahead to the waiting members of the Galactic Council. Maya played for hours, losing herself in the music as stars streaked by outside her window. She didn't notice when 3 Altarian crew members gathered silently in the corridor outside her room, their advanced brains struggling to understand why the simple patterns of sound created by this human caused such strong emotional responses in their neural networks. Ambassador Zex Tural stood among them, watching Maya through the transparent wall of her chamber. "You see," he said quietly to his companions, "it is just as the theoretical models predicted. They create without knowing what they create." "Is she aware of her importance?" one of the other Altarians asked. "No," the ambassador replied. "And she must not be told everything yet. The council was clear on this matter. We must observe her natural responses, uninfluenced by knowledge of the greater context, and if the theories are correct, if human music truly contains what we have lost." The ambassador's skin darkened, galaxies swirling beneath its surface. "Then everything changes. For them. For us. For the entire structure of galactic civilization." Maya continued to play, unaware of the conversation happening just outside her room. The alien ship accelerated toward the stars, carrying humanity's newest ambassador to a destiny no one on Earth could possibly imagine. The alien ship moved through space in ways that broke the rules of human science. The stars outside the window looked like wet paint smeared across a black canvas. Maya sat in a room made to feel like Earth, though the shapes of the furniture still seemed a bit wrong to her eyes. Ambassador Zex Tural came in, his movements making waves in the air that Maya could almost see. "We will get to the Harmony Station in about 12 Earth hours," he said. "I hoped we could talk about your performance before we arrive." Maya nodded, her hands moving nervously in her lap. "I brought some music with me. Written music, I mean. But I'm not sure if the songs I've prepared would be right for the event." The ambassador's face changed in a way Maya couldn't understand. "You don't understand, Maya Johnson. We don't want you to play human songs we have already studied. The council has looked at Bach, Mozart, Holiday, Armstrong, Swift, and Nakamura. We know their patterns already." "Then what should I play?" Maya asked, confused. "We want to hear true human making up of music as it happens. The moment of creation. This is what interests us about your kind. You create without doing math first. Without using prediction programs, you make beautiful mistakes." The last word seemed hard for the translator to say right. The ambassador walked to a wall that suddenly disappeared, showing an instrument that looked a bit like a grand piano. But its surface moved like black water, and instead of keys, it had a series of touchable areas that changed color when touched even slightly. "This is an Altarian harmonic interpreter," Zex Tural explained. "It has been set up to respond to human touch patterns. Would you like to try it?" Maya walked up carefully, reaching her hand toward the strange instrument. As her fingers touched it, the surface made a sound unlike anything she had ever heard, something between a cello and a human voice singing. She pulled back, surprised. "Keep going," the ambassador encouraged. "Every species touches the interpreter differently. This is how we share music across different life forms." Maya put her hands on the surface again, this time pressing more firmly. The notes that came out reminded her of rain on a roof, of wind in trees, of her grandmother humming while cooking. Somehow the instrument was turning her feelings into sound. "Amazing," Zex Tural said softly. "Most non-Altarians need many tries to make good patterns. For the next hour, Maya tested the instrument, slowly learning how pressure, movement, and even her breathing changed the sounds it made. When she finally looked up, she noticed 3 other aliens had come into the room and were watching her, with great interest. "You did not tell me she had the synchrony," one of them said to Zextoral in a voice that seemed to skip the translator completely. "I wasn't sure until now," the ambassador replied. "This changes everything." Maya lifted her hands from the instrument. "What's synchrony?" The ambassador looked at her with new intensity. "A rare brain ability to connect directly with harmonic technology. Less than 1 in 10 million humans would have this ability." He paused. "Maya Johnson, I must be honest. Your invitation to the Harmony Conference was not just for entertainment. We believe human music contains something important, something lost to most advanced species." "I don't understand," Maya said. "The Council has seen that as civilizations get more advanced in technology, they often lose certain feeling connections. Creation becomes calculation. We believe humanity's music might hold the key to getting this back across all species." Zextoral's eyes seemed to darken. "And you, with the synchrony, could be the bridge." Maya felt cold despite the warm room. "So I'm not just playing at a concert?" "No," the ambassador confirmed. "You may be taking part in the most important meeting between different species since first contact. How humans and the galactic community get along in the future could be shaped by your performance." After the ambassador left her alone with this news, Maya stared at her hands. The same hands that had played in dark clubs for just a few people would now apparently speak for her entire species. When Maya finally tried to sleep, her dreams were filled with strange music. She saw herself playing for a crowd of beings so different from humans that she couldn't even understand how they could hear the same music she did. In her dream, the piano keys turned to liquid under her fingers, yet still made perfect sound. She woke to find the ambassador standing at her door. "We are approaching the Harmony Station," he said. "Please prepare yourself. Many species will be very interested to meet you." Maya got up and put on the clothes she had brought from Earth, a simple blue dress her mother had given her for her 21st birthday. She wanted to look like herself, like a human, not try to impress with fancy clothes. As she followed Zextoral to the ship's main viewing area, she got her first look at the Harmony Station. It was huge, bigger than any building on Earth, and shaped like a giant snowflake made of crystal. Hundreds of ships of different sizes and shapes moved around it, docking or leaving. "The station has beings from over 300 different thinking species," the ambassador told her. "Many have traveled what would be years in Earth time to be at the Centennial Harmony Conference." "And they all want to hear me play?" Maya asked, her throat tight with worry. "Not all at the same time," the ambassador said with what might have been a smile. "But your performance will be sent to all sections. It is a very big honor for a human." As they prepared to leave the ship, Maya could see many different kinds of aliens moving through the station's wide halls. Some floated instead of walked. Others moved in groups that seemed to work as one being, and some were in suits that hid what they really looked like. A group of 3 beings from different species came toward them. One looked almost human except for the shiny patterns moving under clear skin. Another looked like a delicate insect with many compound eyes. The third was a floating cloud of tiny bits held together in some kind of energy field. "Ambassador?" The human-like figure spoke. "This is the human musician?" The voice sounded artificial, clearly changed through translation technology. "Yes, Counselor Liana. This is Maya Johnson of Earth." The insect being made a series of clicking sounds that translated as, "She looks normal for her kind. Are we sure the readings were right?" Maya felt her face get hot with embarrassment and anger. The ambassador's voice got noticeably colder. "Council Observer Craolith, I can personally say her abilities are real. She showed synchrony interaction with an Altarian interpreter without any training." This statement caused a clear reaction among the group. The cloud being's particles swirled faster and Counselor Liana's skin patterns sped up. "That would be unexpected," Liana said carefully. "No pre-singularity species has shown such ability before." "Pre-singularity?" Maya questioned. Ambassador Zexitoral made a small gesture that Maya took as a warning to be careful. A technical term. Come, you should rest before tomorrow's event. Maya was taken to a room designed to look like Earth conditions, though the shapes still felt a bit strange. Once alone, she noticed a small object on a table, a perfect, tiny copy of a normal Earth piano, the size of a music box. When she touched it, a light display appeared in the air, showing what seemed to be her playing history. Every school performance from when she was a child, every club performance, even practice time she thought no one had seen. Videos, recordings, and even patterns of how audiences reacted to her. They had been watching her whole music life. A soft sound announced a visitor. The door disappeared to show a being Maya hadn't seen before, about her height but with a body made of clear plates that moved constantly. Maya Johnson, the being said, its voice going straight to her mind rather than through a translator. I am Vel from the Coalition of Independent Systems. Can we talk alone? Maya hesitated but nodded, letting Vel come in. You should know that not all guests at the conference agree with the Altarian view, Vel said once they were alone. Some think this human music experiment is dangerous. Dangerous? It's just music, Maya argued. Is it? Vel moved closer. The Altarians believe human-made-up music has something they call true creation, something that cannot be predicted by even the best math. This goes against basic rules that most advanced civilizations follow. I still don't understand why that's dangerous. Because, Maya Johnson, if human creativity truly works outside of predictable patterns, it suggests your species might develop in ways no prediction model can see coming. Some find this scary. Vel's body plates moved, showing a small device that projected an image of Earth. Your planet sits in a special place, rich in resources near several important space travel points. Under galactic rules, pre-singularity species get protection and freedom to develop on their own. However what? Maya asked, feeling worried. If tomorrow's demonstration proves humans have abilities previously only seen in post-singularity civilizations, some council groups will argue for closer watching of Earth's development. Maya felt cold. You're saying my piano playing could decide whether Earth stays independent? I am saying, Vel replied carefully, that you should think about what parts of humanity you choose to show tomorrow. The Altarians want something specific from your performance, something that might change how the galaxy sees your kind. After Vel left, Maya sat on the edge of her bed looking at her hands. What had seemed like an amazing chance now felt like an impossible responsibility. She closed her eyes and remembered her grandmother's kitchen, the smell of baking bread, and the simple joy of playing music without the weight of worlds watching. The next morning, an Altarian assistant came to guide Maya to the performance chamber. The halls of the Harmony Station were busy with beings of all shapes moving about their business. Some looked at her with obvious interest, others seemed not to notice her at all. Is it normal to have a human here? Maya asked her guide. You are the 8th human to visit the Harmony Station, the assistant replied. But the first musician. The others were government representatives. They arrived at a large door that seemed to be made of flowing water somehow held in place. As they approached, it parted without a sound. The performance chamber of the Harmony Station was unlike any concert hall on Earth. Its walls curved in impossible ways, and the ceiling opened directly to space, protected by clear force fields that let the light of distant stars shine through. In the center stood the Altarian harmonic interpreter, now grown to almost twice its previous size, its surface moving as if waiting. Maya wore her simple blue dress, her choice despite being offered fancy alien clothes. Her hair was braided in the style her mother had taught her as a child. She carried nothing with her as she entered the chamber, walking past rows of various beings who went quiet as she approached. Ambassador Zexitoral stood at the edge of the central platform. The full council is here, he told her quietly, as are representatives from 97 aligned worlds and 42 independent systems. Maya nodded, her mouth too dry to speak. Remember what we practiced, the ambassador added. Focus on the math patterns we worked on. The council likes structure and predictable beauty. Maya frowned slightly, remembering their practice where Zextoril had guided her toward playing complex but basically math-based compositions, beautiful but somehow lifeless. As she took her position before the instrument, she noticed Vel sitting among a group of varied beings, all watching her closely. In another section sat Counselor Liana and the insect-like Craolith, their attention equally focused. The room went quiet as Ambassador Zextoril addressed the gathering. Respected members of the Galactic Council, honored guests, we present Maya Johnson of Earth, showing human music expression through the medium of an Altarian harmonic interpreter. Maya placed her hands on the moving surface of the instrument. Right away, she felt the strange connection forming, the synchrony the aliens had mentioned, as if the instrument was becoming part of her nervous system. She began with the complex math pattern Zextoril had insisted on, her fingers creating shapes that made harmonies calculated to appeal to the different hearing systems present. The sounds that came out were beautiful but controlled, each note following logically from the last in sequences that could be predicted and analyzed. She could sense the polite appreciation of the audience, particularly from the Altarian group. But as she played, Maya remembered Vel's warning. She thought about what was really at stake, not just a performance, but potentially humanity's place in the galaxy. Was this carefully built mathematical music truly showing human creativity? Or was it exactly what the ambassador wanted to show for his own reasons? Her grandmother's voice seemed to whisper in her ear, "Baby, music ain't just notes on a page. It's what happens when your soul has something to say that words can't tell." Halfway through the piece, Maya made a decision. She changed from the practiced sequence, her fingers finding new patterns, bringing in discord and resolution in ways that followed no predetermined algorithm. She closed her eyes and played what she felt, the wonder of seeing Earth from space. For the first time, the fear of the unknown, the joy of discovery, the sadness of leaving home. The harmonic interpreter responded to her emotional state, producing sounds that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind of every being present. The music became something alive, unpredictable, raw with human emotion. Maya opened her eyes briefly and saw Ambassador Zexitoril's expression, a mixture of alarm and fascination. Other council members were showing various signs of emotional response. Liana's skin patterns had become chaotic. Craolith's compound eyes were rapidly changing color, and even the particle cloud being had condensed into a tighter, more intense formation. Maya continued to play, pushing beyond technique into pure feeling. The instrument seemed to understand her intent, translating emotional ideas that had no direct alien match. The feeling of remembering happy times, hope mixed with uncertainty, standing strong when afraid. As the music reached its highest point, Maya felt something extraordinary, a response from the instrument that she hadn't started. More harmonies came out, adding to her music but coming from somewhere else. The interpreter was not just translating her music, it was talking back to her, creating a conversation. When the final notes faded away, the chamber stayed in perfect silence for several long moments. Then from somewhere in the audience a sound began. Not clapping as humans would know it, but something similar across species. Appreciation shone through light, sound, chemical release, and electromagnetic pulses. Maya stood suddenly tired but excited. She looked toward Ambassador Zexitoral, whose face had changed into something she couldn't read. Counselor Liana approached the platform first. "This was not what we expected," she said, her translator struggling to show the complexity of her tone. "No," Maya admitted. "It wasn't what I was told to play. It was what I needed to play. The patterns were unpredictable," Craolith added, mouth parts clicking rapidly. "Our most advanced prediction models failed after the first change, the particle cloud being floated closer. Its translator produced. We have studied human music for decades. None has produced this effect on the harmonic interpreter. It appears to have grown in response." Ambassador Zextoril stepped forward. "As I told the council, human creativity contains elements that go beyond our current understanding. This demonstration confirms, this demonstration, Counselor, Liana interrupted, raises deep questions about classification systems we have kept for thousands of years. If a supposed pre-singularity species can produce truly non-predictable creation, she didn't finish the thought. Vel approached Maya while the council members continued their discussion. You ignored the ambassador's instructions, the alien observed quietly. I played human music, Maya replied simply. Real human music. Yes. Vel's body plates shifted in what might have been amusement. And in doing so, you may have changed everything. The council members led Maya to a smaller room off the main chamber. The walls here were lined with what looked like living crystal that changed colors subtly as the conversation continued. We must understand, Counselor Liana said, her skin pattern still moving in chaotic ways. Was your performance planned or truly spontaneous? I started with what I was taught, Maya explained, but then I just played what I felt. Impossible, a new alien said, a tall, thin being with multiple limbs and eyes that seemed to look in different directions. No sentient process can be truly non-deterministic. There must be an algorithm we simply haven't detected. There isn't, Maya said firmly. That's what makes it human. We don't always know what we're going to create until we create it. Gisor. Council members looked at each other, communicating in ways Maya couldn't understand. Finally, Liana spoke again. The Altarian harmonic interpreter has been used for over 3,000 years across hundreds of species. In all that time, it has functioned as a translation device, converting neural patterns into sound based on established algorithms. So? Maya asked. So. Kralith clicked rapidly. It has never before developed new response patterns during a single performance. The instrument evolved to communicate with you. Ambassador Zexatoral's skin had darkened to a deep blue. This is precisely what I predicted might happen. Human creativity contains something we lost long ago. True spontaneity, the capacity to generate truly novel patterns. Or, the thin alien said sharply, the human has been enhanced in some way. This could be an attempt to manipulate council classification protocols. I haven't been enhanced, Maya protested. I'm just a pianist from Brooklyn. A simple test would resolve this, Vel suggested, body plates shifting. Allow her to perform again, under different conditions. The council agreed. Maya was taken to a new chamber, smaller than the first. This time, the harmonic interpreter was hidden behind a screen. She could access the controls but could not see the instrument itself. This will prevent any visual feedback, Liana explained. If your performance truly comes from within, it should make no difference. Maya took a deep breath and placed her hands on the unseen surface. Again, she felt the strange connection of synchrony, but this time it was even stronger, as if the instrument remembered her, welcomed her back. She closed her eyes and began to play, thinking of Earth, of her grandmother's stories, of the stars she had seen from the ship's viewing portal. The music flowed from her fingers without conscious thought. As she played, she became aware of something new, a presence in the music, a second voice intertwining with hers. The harmonic interpreter wasn't just responding, it was anticipating, collaborating. Like two jazz musicians who had played together for years, they were creating something neither could make alone. When she finished, the silence was different, charged with a tension she could almost touch. She opened her eyes to see the council members staring at display screens, their expressions showing various forms of shock or disbelief. The patterns, Kralith said, mandibles working rapidly. They're evolving in real time. The harmonic matrices are self-organizing in ways our models can't predict more than 3 notes ahead. What does that mean? Maya asked. It means, Ambassador Zexatoral said solemnly, that your music just made our most advanced predictive algorithms fail completely. No technology in the known galaxy can fully model what you just created. Counselor Liana's skin had settled into slow, rhythmic patterns. The implications are significant. If human creativity truly functions outside our predictive frameworks, then all our models for species development may be fundamentally flawed. Is that good or bad for Earth? Maya asked directly. The council members exchanged glances again before Liana answered. That depends on many factors. Some will see this as proof that humanity represents an unpredictable variable, potentially dangerous. Others will recognize it as an opportunity to recover something many advanced civilizations have lost. Vel moved closer to Maya. The debate will be intense. For now, you have given them much to consider. As Maya was escorted back to her quarters, she noticed the beings they passed in the corridors watching her with new interest, some with what seemed like wonder, others with what might have been fear. In her room, she found a message waiting from Ambassador Zexatoril. The Council will deliberate for 24 Earth hours. Your performance has changed the conversation in ways I did not anticipate. We must speak before their decision is announced. Maya couldn't sleep. She sat by the viewing window in her room, watching the stars and the ships coming and going from the Harmony station. Her fingers moved on her lap, playing invisible keys, as she thought about what had happened. A soft tone announced a visitor. When the door opened, Ambassador Zexatoril stood there, his movements less fluid than before. "May I come in?" he asked. Maya nodded, and the ambassador entered her room. "The council has been talking non-stop since your performance," he said without any greeting. "Nothing like this has happened in hundreds of years. Am I in trouble?" Maya asked directly. The ambassador's colors shifted beneath his skin. "No, but you have caused complications. The way our civilization sorts species is based on development stages and brain complexity. These groups decide everything from trade rights to space rights. And where do humans fit in this system? That is exactly what the council can no longer agree on." The ambassador looked at her directly. "Your performance showed abilities that don't match your species' technology level. The harmonic interpreter's response was never seen before. It made new ways to talk with you. This has happened only once before in all our history, with the first ones who made the basic technologies of our civilization." Maya took a deep breath. "So what happens now?" "The council has reached an unusual agreement. Earth will be called a protected cultural nexus, a name previously saved for worlds with artifacts of extinct civilizations. You're saying they're treating us like a museum?" "No. They are saying that humanity has something valuable and unique that must be allowed to grow naturally, without outside control." The ambassador's voice softened. "It is, in fact, the highest protection Earth could get under galactic law." A new figure joined them, Counselor Liana, her skin patterns flowing in calm, smooth waves. "Maya Johnson, the council wishes to make an offer. We propose starting a cultural exchange initiative with you as the first human ambassador of artistic expression." Maya blinked in surprise. "Me? But I'm just a piano player from Brooklyn." "You are far more than that," Liana replied. "Your ability to connect with the harmonic interpreter shows a capacity for between-species communication through art that could improve understanding across the galaxy. What would this job involve? Travel to various systems, sharing human music while learning alien art forms, developing new ways of communication through creative work, building bridges where normal diplomacy has failed." Maya looked out at the stars, thinking of her small apartment in Brooklyn, her grandmother waiting for her return, the familiar streets, and sounds of Earth. Then she thought of the countless worlds and civilizations she had glimpsed here, each with their own forms of expression waiting to be discovered. "Before I decide," Maya said carefully, "I need to understand something. Ambassador Zexatoril, you guided me toward playing music that wasn't truly human. Why?" The Altarian seemed to pause. "The council has long been split on how to approach new species. Some prefer careful control and watching, believing it prevents destructive development patterns. He paused. "I tried to present humanity in a way that would appear advanced, but predictable, safe. But that's not who we are," Maya stated, simply. No, Zextoril admitted, as your performance showed very clearly. Counselor Liana's skin patterns shifted to show what Maya had come to recognize as amusement. The Altarian Commonwealth has controlled council policy for generations based on their supposed better understanding of development patterns. Your 20 minutes of music broke centuries of theory. I didn't mean to cause an interstellar problem, Maya said, feeling a smile come to her lips despite the seriousness of the situation. On the contrary, Liana replied, you may have prevented one. There were groups pushing for much closer supervision of Earth's development, especially given your planet's important position and resources. Your demonstration of non-predictable creativity has made such control politically impossible. Maya thought about this for a long moment. I need to return to Earth first, to explain to my grandmother, to prepare. But yes, I accept the role of human ambassador of artistic expression. 3 days later, Maya stood at a viewing window of the Harmony Station, watching as ships of various types left for distant star systems. Each carried representatives who had heard her performance, spreading word of what had happened throughout the galaxy. Maya spent her final hours on the station at the harmonic interpreter. This time she played not for an audience but for herself. A simple song her father had taught her as a child, a lullaby passed down through generations. The instrument responded, its surface moving with patterns that seemed almost like language. Maya realized it was learning from her just as she was learning from it. An exchange of understanding through music that went beyond species, culture, and even the vast distances between stars. When she finally lifted her hands from the instrument, she understood what she would tell her grandmother upon returning to Earth. That music, human music, with all its emotional complexity and unpredictability, had given humanity a voice among the stars. The Altarian ship that would take her back to Earth was smaller than the one that had brought her to the station, but still impressive by human standards. Ambassador Zextoril met her at the docking area. The Council has formalized Earth's new status, he told her. No species may interfere with human development or attempt to influence your natural progression. Your world is now under the highest level of protection. All because of a piano performance, Maya said, shaking her head in wonder. No, the ambassador corrected. All because you chose to be authentically human when it mattered most. That is a lesson many advanced civilizations have forgotten. As Maya boarded the ship that would take her home, she carried with her a small gift from the Council, a miniature version of the harmonic interpreter, sized to fit in her palm. It was the first such device ever given to a non-Council species, a symbol of her new role as a bridge between worlds. The journey back to Earth took less time than the trip out. The Altarians had adjusted their drive systems to be more comfortable for human passengers. As the blue-green sphere of her home planet grew larger in the viewing portal, Maya felt both changed and somehow more herself than ever before. She thought about the clubs in New Brooklyn where she used to play, wondering how they would react. When she told them her next gig was on a planet circling Proxima Centauri, she imagined her grandmother's face when she explained that her music would now be heard by beings with 6 limbs or none at all, with eyes that saw in spectrums humans couldn't perceive, with minds that thought in ways no human had ever considered. When the ship landed in the same spot in Central Park where she had departed, Maya stepped out to find a small crowd waiting, government officials, news reporters, and in the front, her grandmother Elaine, eyes bright with tears and pride. "Welcome home, child," Elaine said as they embraced. "Did your music take you to the stars like your daddy said it would?" Maya smiled, feeling the weight of the miniature harmonic interpreter in her pocket. "It did, Grandma, and now it's going to take humanity with it." As she walked with her grandmother toward the waiting cars, Maya looked up at the daytime sky, knowing that beyond the blue, countless civilizations were now talking about the human who had played a piano and changed the galaxy's understanding of creativity itself. In the years that followed, Maya Johnson would become the first of many human artistic ambassadors. But she would always be remembered as the first, the young woman who showed the stars that what made humans special wasn't their technology or their science, but their capacity to create beauty that even the most advanced beings in the universe couldn't predict.